I originally started as a family doctor, and I did 7 years as a general practitioner. And I found in many ways patient contact was difficult. It was always challenging. It was sometimes very enlightening and other times not. And I felt that I would like to serve patients better than directly through contact, but rather through the drug industry. So I joined in 1977 Glaxo Research, which was actually very small then, and I've been working ever since in various companies and as a consultant for the last 40 years. So what happens is that the bacteria, which are incredibly diverse, acquire from the environment and from antibiotic action resistance to that infection, to that antibiotic. This results in antimicrobial resistant pathogens, especially in vulnerable patients, which are the elderly, patients who are immunocompromised, who have cancer, and who undergo significant surgical operations, for example. And many people also have repeated infections like bronchitis, pneumonia, urinary tract infections, and each time they get an event, it increases the likelihood of resistance, which increases the likelihood of failure and further resistance. And as resistance builds up in the community, they spread the resistance to other bacteria as well, which means that you need a constant stream of new antibiotics which are active, and then that's used and they become less active, and then you need more antibiotics, and so it goes on. Yes, he did predict that in his Nobel Prize winning speech when he got the Nobel Prize, that that would happen. What's happened is that antibiotics have been very easy to use and very easy to abuse, and because they're so effective at transferring their resistance. So, for example, they've been on this world more than 200 million years more than we have. When they're active, they can actually divide every 20 minutes, whereas we take about 30 years to do that. And of course, they're actually communicating with each other through something called quorum sensing agents, and they're really extremely clever in terms of evolutionary activity. It's very interesting. Wellcome Trust did a survey of patient views 2 years ago at Christmas, and they found that unfortunately the word AMR didn't mean very much. And also, of course, they're completely confused about when an antibiotic should be used and when not. So it's really important to involve them as much as we can with all sorts of different media, so that we know that A, if they think they need an antibiotic, they are seen, and B, with doctors who are absolutely clear that antibiotics are either needed or not needed, or occasionally even patients are given the benefit of the doubt. One very effective mechanism, particularly with children with otitis media, is to say, your child has otitis media, but the story is that most of the time they don't need an antibiotic. If the doctor has a concern, they can say, well, I'll prescribe an antibiotic, but do not use it for 3 days. If the patient is better, that's fine, but if the patient is worse, then actually cash it at the prescription or come and see another doctor. And that has proven to particularly reduce antibiotic use in children very significantly. I'm very much for it, bearing in mind that bacteria evolve quickly and are an example of great complexity beyond our human mind. We need to have a effective, scientifically led, very diverse in our approach because the bacteria is so diverse. And I must say the international and national activities are really beginning, I suggest, hopefully, to make a big difference here. We need small improvements in antibiotics, and ideally we'd like much bigger improvements. But until that comes along, the small improvements in antibiotics is very helpful.